Okay, let's talk about one of the biggest purchases you'll ever make, buying a home. You put an incredible amount of trust in your real estate agent, right? They're supposed to be your guide, your expert, the one person who has your back. But what happens if that independence, that trust, gets a little blurry? Well, a massive new lawsuit is putting that very idea on trial.
Seriously, think about this for a second. When your agent suggests a mortgage lender, you just assume it's because that lender is genuinely the best choice for you, for your wallet. But could there be something else going on behind the scenes, some other incentive? That is the big question we're going to dive into today.
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical what-if scenario. It is the absolute core of a huge class action lawsuit filed against Rocket Companies. Yeah, one of the biggest names in the business. This case is putting the entire relationship between homebuyers, their agents, and their lenders right under the microscope. So here's the accusation in a nutshell. The lawsuit claims that Rocket built this whole system where real estate agents in its network were not just encouraged, but actively pressured to steer their clients, people like you, toward using Rocket Mortgage for their loan, whether it was the best deal for the homebuyer or not.
All right, so how did this all allegedly go down? The plaintiffs have a name for it, a pay-to-play scheme. And you guessed it, it all comes down to money, specifically a pretty hefty referral fee.
The magic number here, according to the lawsuit, is 35%. Think about that. When Rocket Homes give an agent a client lead, that agent allegedly had to agree to pay back about a third of their commission. For an agent, that is a huge chunk of their paycheck, and it's the financial leverage at the very heart of this case.
So let's walk through this alleged referral loop. It all starts when you, the home buyer, find an agent on Rocket's platform. That agent agrees to that massive referral fee we just talked about. But here's the kicker, the crucial part. The lawsuit claims that agents were then pushed to get you to use Rocket Mortgage. And why would they do that? Well, because the agents who were good at it, the ones who got their clients to sign with Rocket, were allegedly rewarded with more leads in the future. It's a powerful cycle.
And this is where it gets really interesting. A legal expert, James Brody, really nails it here. He says it's the alleged coercion of the agent that makes this case stand out. The argument is that an agent's future business depended on them playing ball. And that, of course, totally compromises their duty to have your back and only your back.
And we're not talking about subtle hints. The lawsuit lays out some pretty specific stuff. There was apparently a 2019 agreement that required agents to preserve and protect a client's relationship with Rocket. And get this, their performance was tracked with a goal of an 80% loan conversion rate. 80%! That is an incredibly high bar. If you didn't hit it, you could get fewer referrals. Agents were even supposed to report back to Rocket if their client was looking at other lenders. This was a system with real financial teeth.
Okay, but to be fair, this isn't a one-sided story. The case is far from a slam dunk for the plaintiffs. Rocket is pushing back, and hard, and this lawsuit has some serious legal challenges to overcome.
So one of the first things Rocket said was, hey, we've seen this movie before. They pointed to a case from the CFPB, the government's consumer financial watchdog, that got dismissed. But, and this is a big but, these two fights are like apples and oranges. The first was the government stepping in. This new one, it's a private lawsuit, filed by actual consumers, and they're asking a jury for some pretty significant damages.
And that difference is absolutely crucial. As our expert James Brody points out, a government agency might drop a case for a million different reasons. Politics, budgets, you name it. But a group of consumers suing for major damages in front of a jury? Yeah, that is, as he puts it, an entirely different ballgame.
But the legal hurdles don't stop there. The plaintiffs have a few more mountains to climb. For one, they have to convince a judge that all these different homebuyers from different states with different loans all suffered a similar enough harm to be grouped together. That's always tricky. Then there's the clock ticking, a one-year statute of limitations. And that whole idea of an agent's duty, it actually changes from state to state and can sometimes even be waved away in the fine print of the forms you sign.
But the story has another twist. Right in the middle of all this legal drama, a massive business deal went down that adds a whole new, fascinating layer to this whole thing.
Just look at the timing on this. It's pretty wild. In February 2025, boom, the government case against Rocket is dismissed. Just a few months after that, boom, Rocket announces it's buying the huge real estate company Redfin. And then, not long after, boom, this new class action lawsuit pops up. Coincidence? The plaintiffs are basically screaming, no way.
In fact, the lawsuit flat out calls the Redfin deal a maneuver. So why that word? Well, there's this rule in real estate that says it's generally okay for a company to refer you to another company that it owns as long as they tell you about it. The lawsuit is basically arguing that Rocket bought Redfin to bring the whole system in-house, to put it all under one corporate roof, where they could potentially make those same practices legal.
So when you zoom out, you start to see that this lawsuit is about way more than just Rocket or Redfin. It's really a flashpoint for a massive trend that is totally reshaping the real estate industry as we know it.
And that trend has a name. It's called vertical integration. You can think of it as the one-stop shop for buying a home. One giant company owns the brokerage that helps you find the house, the mortgage company that gives you the loan, and even the title company that closes the deal. It sounds convenient, for sure, but it also raises some really big questions about consumer choice and true competition. And that's really what's on the line here. The outcome of this case could send huge ripples through the industry. It could change the rules for these one-stop shop models. It could draw a clearer line between what's a legal referral fee and what's an illegal kickback. But most importantly, it could define just how strong an agent's duty to you, the client, really is. It gets right to the heart of things.
It all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? When everything is owned by one company, who is really doing the shopping? Are you shopping for the best deal for yourself, or is the company shopping for you as their customer? That is the billion-dollar question at the heart of this lawsuit, and it's something every single person thinking about buying a home should probably be asking.